So now there's been some updates regarding Mitchell Miller. The Coyotes, well, there's almost 3 chapters here. So the Coyotes officially renounced his rights. I'm not going to read their statement because it's way too long and there's a lot to cover today, but you can go read it. But the gist of it was apparently they claimed they were not, and I'm paraphrasing here, they were not aware of all the details. And there's a lot here. First of all, what we need to point out is the Coyotes, and we'll get to him in North Dakota in a second. The Coyotes have now technically lost their 2020 first, second, third, and with renouncing this pick, their 4th round picks, guys.
Great asset management.
Oh, fantastic. They're just terrible. More on this whole Miller thing. On Insider Trading, Darren Dreger did say, they didn't have all the details. And really what he said justly was, it looks like they never actually did their due diligence here. They didn't have all the details. And what's really alarming is Pierre LeBrun also said in this segment that talking to Isaiah Mayer Crothers, his mother, Joni, went a long way in them making this decision, which should have probably been done in the first place, lads. And then Frank Saravelli kind of concluded the segment talking about how an internal review will be done on this whole saga of Mitchell Miller. Sorry, easy for me to say. And it looks like the scouts who sort of suggested to draft him are going to get in a lot of trouble, especially. Probably going to be some fall guys in this, lads. But before we go to his future and his university stuff that's come out, let's just focus on the Coyotes and how they have completely dropped the ball here. Alex, I'll start with you because I can tell there's going to be a lot to say here.
No, I think shame on the Coyotes, man. Like, I think that's such a lazy excuse. And listen, I don't want to make it sound like I'm bashing Dreger and Saravelli and those guys. I think they're reporting what was told to them.
Exactly.
I think when it comes to the Coyotes, that's a lazy narrative. That's a stupid narrative. And it's just it's actually not even borderline. It's straight up irresponsible. Mm-hmm. I think it's bizarre that this is the narrative that they're coming out with. And you know what? If it's the truth, it's the truth. And you know what? Good for them. I guess good for them on telling us the truth, but shame on them for not doing their due diligence. Because I for sure know that every other team, I don't know if every other team did, right? So I just think it's shame on them. Like, we watched Moneyball.
Yes.
Right? And I know, okay, it's not a perfect adaptation of what the scouting room looks like, but I think we have an idea over the last few months, if not the last year at this point, because we're in November, that there's a lot of stupid things that go on. And the fact that you were given this information and you didn't do your due diligence in completely scouting this player and what actually happened is bizarre.
Mm-hmm. Daniel, it really sounds, saying that the talking to Joni Meyer Crothers changed their mind. The fact that she was not spoken to prior to making this selection to get more background is a serious red flag, a big sign of negligence from the Coyotes, no?
Yeah, so the one thing I kind of thought about when this was brought up is the whole thing where, we had that lapse with the pandemic and, we didn't really have any sports news. But one thing that kind of struck out to us in previous episodes was how the heck did Jake Sanderson go up on the draft rankings? And, you're not seeing him play or anything. And I'm not saying this is speculation, but, a lot of teams do their due diligence where they come to research the player, like how he is, what he can bring, like his, really like his family, like based on like what we heard Brian Burke has done, especially the Morgan Riley pick. And the fact that you still had more time, you had more of an effort to do your research on this, to really see how is this player going to fit into the culture, like what's his history like, what's his past like. And the fact that the Coyotes just still didn't do that, even if there was an opportunity to have that time and have that period, they still didn't do anything about it. And once again, it's just horrible story, but at the same time, like there's that part of me saying, like, I'm not surprised. Like the Coyotes they're just something that needs to change there.
It's what you make a really really good point there. Just the lack of hockey, the lack of anything that existed in that sort of period of March to God, when did everything even come back? It feels to June. Everything just feels like a giant mess, right? What strikes me is, of course, when I got to be part of that Zoom call with Trevor Timmons, he talked about how the Canadians. He made a real point of making, talking about how many players the Canadians had interviewed, and if you don't have footage, if you can't look at a player's game, and because like if you look at how much NHL staff go on about character, and you're the Coyotes who already got in trouble for the whole combine testing stuff. All you had to do beside review what game footage there was talk to these players, get some insight on them, figure out what kind of people they are, look at their character, and you couldn't even do that right. It's just another, like, let's be honest. We'll just say it. This is because of public pressure. And David Amber said it. He speculated about it on Sportsnet. And boy, the Coyotes are just another sort of step here in just, why are these guys a thing? Why are the Coyotes an organization still?
Yeah, you make a good point. Like, let's not pretend that they did this because they wanted to. And you know what? It's great that they wanted to be part of the solution. That idea of wanting to be part of the solution in general is a fantastic idea. But give it to someone who actually wants a second chance. Like, clearly this guy still thinks he's on his first chance. He doesn't see what he did. He doesn't think himself what he did was truly wrong.
Did you guys see that his sister put out a statement?
I did not see that.
Mitchell Miller's.
No.
Oh, first of all, you shouldn't attack someone's family. Let's put that out there, all right? You shouldn't really attack anyone, right? You never want to stoop down to someone's level. But it wasn't the most well put together statement. There were some problems with it. But it was just, like, you shouldn't have said anything. Because, and I think the reason she really said this was, there's another sort of layer, not just with the Coyotes renouncing the rights to Mitchell Miller. The University of North Dakota, who he was going to play for, have also removed him from their hockey program. Now, in a statement they released, they did make it clear that he could still attend the school. Though earlier today, I don't know how exactly, Championat Kurto, Mitchell, I'm reading the
That's
Russian.
the source.
That's why. A Russian website, this is from Yaki Novailan on Twitter. Russian website Championat is reporting that Mitchell Miller may move to Russia and likely sign in the SKA organization after he was removed from North Dakota's hockey program and his rights were renounced by the Coyotes. Now, I almost laugh at this part because everyone was joking that he was going to go to Russia, and that's exactly what happened.
I don't know where to start. Like, I just think there's so many. I feel like every time I go on Twitter, I learn of another person who doesn't understand the situation. I just feel like no one's telling the full, like someone's missing the story here. Like, there was a second person involved in this incident, right? It wasn't just him. I don't remember the other kid's name. I'm not even sure if it was said. He apologized. He apologized to Isaiah, and I don't remember the other thing he did. But he did the bare minimum. He stopped, right? Like, I think this is a bizarre situation because people seem to think that we're canceling him for the sake of canceling him, and that's not what's happening. It's holding people accountable. Is an absolute privilege to play hockey in university, is an absolute privilege to play hockey in the NHL. Like, I don't think this is getting through some thick people's heads. And to be honest, it's honestly not sitting well with me, and it's really annoying. Like, get it through your head that it's called keeping people accountable. Like, it's that simple.
I agree with that point where, like, I like what Alex brought up, where a lot of like the comments have been like, what do you expect this kid to do?
Apologize.
Yeah, that's the thing, where it's like there was another kid involved where he kind of set like the bar, like the bare minimum of like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. Like the other individual involved in the bullying, he showed remorse, he apologized, and he stopped bullying. It's not like he kept going with it. And I don't know, it's just we had this thing where we talked about, they're probably not gonna care about the publicity or anything in like the Russian leagues, and that's what we're seeing right now, where if this guy actually does go there, then it's going to be another story altogether again.
Not only did this kid go to juvie court at the age of 14, and I guess he was found guilty. He did it for 2 years after. So you tell me, did he learn his lesson?
Again,
by
the judge even said, I don't feel that you're actually remorseful here.
He's literally apologized in quotation marks to everyone but the kid he bullied. Mm-hmm. Prove to me, give me a list of things that this kid has done over the last 2 years, 4 years, that wasn't court ordered, that he did, that proves otherwise. This is called holding people accountable. It is an again, I'm going to say it again, because I think it needs to be repeated. It is an absolute privilege to play in the NHL. It is an absolute privilege to play hockey in university. It is an absolute privilege to play hockey in AAA, AA, single A, whatever. They were talking about this on SDP. I don't know if either of you have listened to the episode they talked about it. I don't remember if it was the last one or the episode before. They were talking about what would your parents' reactions be if you came home and this is what happened. I don't even know, because I can't even think like that. I can guarantee you, if I was playing hockey, I would not be playing hockey. And to the point of his skill level, I don't care if he has the skill of Connor McDavid. If he can't figure out that he needs to be held accountable, he's not playing in this league. This is my opinion. I don't care if he's Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid, Sidney Crosby, Alexis Lafreniere. You have to understand this is not acceptable, and if you're not held accountable, when are you ever going to learn what you are doing is wrong?
When I see that, the reports of I'm going to Russia, right? And again, I don't know how legitimate those sources are, but it sounds pretty. I know the guy was followed by Berkshire and that, so I think he's pretty safe. But when I hear the first thing is I'm going to go to Russia and play there, it's like, I think the priority for this person should be improving yourself as a person before your career right now, because the way that the world has changed over the past few months alone, it doesn't matter how good he's going to be. Because, again, this is the guy who's going to go in the second round. We've seen some of the defensemen who have fallen there, and just how good they can be. Again, this guy was going to go to the NCAA. There's no doubt that he's a good player. So, I don't know if he's almost running from it. Probably is. But unless he also fixes himself, and I really hope he does. I really hope this guy gets help. And I hope he does eventually have a real, sincere apology to Isaiah. But, dude, work on yourself first. work on yourself than your game, because
But
you're not going to get back to the show if you don't. You're
Adam,
not going to be like, it's even more than that. It's just, man, how do you sleep at night after all this? How do you do it?
but it goes back to what I was saying before. No one has held him accountable other than that judge. But after that judge did that, what was the reaction? He went right back to playing hockey. No accountability for his actions.
And that's I obviously we don't know exactly what his family life is like, but I guess if he was just straight allowed, and I mean then his parents didn't hold him like that. They just sort of, I don't know if it was just they see the talent, they're just like, go play, but they saw his career, and this is pure speculation from me, and saw that was more important than making sure. And of course now, like his sister's statement says, "Oh, he's a great guy."
Sure.
But man,
Lot of
I don't
backtracking.
believe you.
like
Nothing proves that.
Love is blind, people. Like love is blind. And
The
again,
one-
all the evidence. Sorry, go on, Daniel.
Oh no, it's the thing I think about is, it's a thing that they've been kind of like letting us know in journalism school, is a kind of thing where it's like keep everything clean as you enter the industry. And the way I see it is like if we're held accountable to that standard, that we got to make sure that we are quote unquote polished prospects coming out of J school. At those higher levels, at those things that there's more publicity going around. Like I think that there should be that same standard as well, and that's what I think about even as like a university hockey player or an NHL prospect.
Man, I don't even swear in my tweets. I tweet about bat cows and that, right? Like and I can only imagine the story like this following Mitchell Miller. But buddy, you're not listening to this, but just reflect, man. See the harm you've caused, and try and just be accountable, as I like to say in here, man. It's just we want everyone.
Here's a sorry. Go
ahead,
finish.
yeah.
No, finish what you were saying.
No, it's just be good. It's a phrase I love using on the show. Be good people, and you know what? Treat others how you'd like to be treated. It's as simple as that. Realize who he's hurt and what he's done.
Here's the thing. Until you realize what you've done wrong, you can't hold yourself accountable. People around you have to hold you accountable. So until someone else holds him accountable, and then I feel like it's so hard for someone. It just seems really difficult for someone to change. And I see it around me. I see it happen to myself. If I do something wrong and someone doesn't, and I don't see it as wrong and someone doesn't tell me, why wouldn't I do the same thing again?
That's fair.
Human nature.
Right. Shall we move on then?
Sure.
I think we're gonna get a lot more on this in upcoming the upcoming week. So I guess we'll stay tuned on this topic.
Like, look, he got released from the hockey team in University of North Dakota, and now there's rumors there's a team in Russia who's willing to sign him. Where like no accountability, right?
No. Well, there was a really Gino Reda said something at the end of Insider Trading. He's like, within a few days, Mitchell Miller's gone from draft pick to a case study. I thought I'd just say that to end the statement. I thought that was really, really good sort of phrase there.